And I'm about to go live. Excuse me. Oh shoot.
What's the
I
matter?
need a different. Oh, not my phone. I just unplugged it by accident, but good.
We're live.
Yep, we live. Cool. My computer ain't loaded up, but it's cool. My computer is slow to the mud. I do everything on the computer. It's entertainment and work. I need another one. Oh man. But yes, we are live. So again, just like whatever talk, you say whatever. It ain't the only rules I have is be yourself. That's it. I don't care about none of your fakeism. I don't care none about your personas. I mean, you can bring them, but we don't care about if it ain't you I'm talking to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is Challenge Our Belief, and this is strictly, well, I try to focus on just religion and specifically Christianity, because that's what I know more about. And plus, that's what most of Americans are raised to be, Christians, whether they believe it or not. And I do have a guest with me, Coach Terri, who was recently a guest on the latest episode of Whatever Talk. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You you about to become like in the top five of reoccurring guests that I would love to keep having come on.
Good. I love it. I love it.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Um, Before we get into the heaviness of what it is we're gonna talk about, it's gonna be a bunch of whole different thoughts that I ain't really got a set topic because we already look like we bashing it, talking to two people who don't really believe, but think possibly it could probably be. So we don't want to bash it. We just want to talk about why. Well, I want to talk about why people believe. That's my curiosity to it. That's my why I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with your certainty on the matter. I'm intrigued with the question I'm about to ask you now is why do you personally believe or not believe in God or in Christianity or whatever it is that you believe in? Why do you believe in it?
Think I'll be honest. I believe because that's what I was taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say I don't believe only because there have been, and I guess I'll say coincidences,
Oh, I'm glad you used that word.
right? It's hard to find the word, but coincidences that made me want to believe.
I can actually use those words too.
You see what I'm saying? Like made me
Mm-hmm.
want to believe. Like persuade me more to believe than to not believe. Like, but I can also say that there were challenges in my life that did made me totally be like, ain't no way God exists because he allowed this to happen. Right. So I've had
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
incidences. Yeah. But then I've also had more incidences where, and not just with me, but people around me where we prayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at the time when we prayed, in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, right. But then when it came to pass, but then when it came to pass,
Basically, won't he do what? Won't he do what?
won't he do it?
what is it that he is doing? Won't he do what?
Won't he do it? Right.
But let me say, what you said out of all the conversations I had on religion, again, that's what I like to start off before we get deep into it with that question, because virtually everybody hesitates on that question for one. And I find it strange that you can pick out the top five of anything, and you can tell me your favorites of anything, but you have a struggle time telling someone why you believe in this entity that's supposed to be your soul savior, like your lifesaver, period. And that's just the strangest thing to me, because I don't think you believe that. Now, if it's that hard for you to tell somebody why you believe in this entity that we call a God, we ain't even gotta say God, him or itself, but the entity of what we perceive a God to be. You believe in it, but just not enough to say this is your favorite thing, or this is not
Or that
enough
I'm
to the.
I'm sold in, or that I'm
Oh,
all in, or that
exactly.
yes,
Wholeheartedly, as they
I
say.
can't I can't say that because I question so much
Hmm.
about what is taught and what is, I don't know. I just questioned everything on what was taught. Once I started digging into, like, even the Bible and in its background.
Hmm.
And so when I found out that I don't know, there's missing books of the Bible, that some of the books were missing, that um that the apostles, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were illiterate. So it's the gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They didn't actually write them. So then who the heck wrote them? And
But
and it was
oh, I'm sorry. Go
and
ahead.
was it were you just, so it sounds like to me you just, somebody heard their story and then wrote the story, and then they all just kind of look, because the first four books of the Bible are basically the same, right?
Hmm.
But they're just according to that particular disciple,
Hmm.
um his account, based off of his perception. And that's kind of like how it is. I mean, we can all look at something and see it a different way.
Hmm.
We can all hear something and hear it a different way, based off of our perception, based off of our experiences, based off of, we just take in information differently. And so, that's when I learned just that information alone. And then when I learned that the Bible is based off of five other different religions and stories from Egypt that 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 came about years before Jesus came along, it just made me question everything.
Well, I've been
It, the
questioning.
create it made me question the whole concept of Christianity. But I don't know why, but I do hold on to
Well,
that there is something.
I think though the I don't know why can be somewhere in the midst of trying to understand um, why humans, or human civilization, or let's just go with humans, why humans have to believe in something. If you really pay attention to history, and just pay attention to present, the life you're living right now with your surroundings, humans, for some reason, have to believe in something. In fact, I ain't even gonna say you have to believe in something either. I'll change it to by default, you believe in something.
You believe in something, right?
Exactly.
So, and then you and it's one of the and it seems like it's one or the other. So, like I have a coworker at work who doesn't believe. So he wears all this devil worshiping stuff. So he, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, well, dang, why does it have to go to that extreme? Just because you don't believe,
Exactly.
just because you don't believe that God exists doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a devil worshiper. So that part doesn't make sense to me either, right? Because like of what you just said, it's like you have to believe in something, and that doesn't mean maybe you just what is it? What is it? Agnostic, atheist? What is it? I mean, they just believe.
I
They
mean,
just don't believe that there's a God.
atheism, atheist, but I don't really care about titles. With
Right? I don't care
I,
about titles either.
I,
Yeah.
I understand. Like I understand that technically I am an atheist, but I don't identify as anything other than
Right.
a human being. Like I don't. Titles are retarded to me because we have so many
I
things, just
agree.
like words. Just like words, we have so many words that mean the same thing, but we use them differently. Titles are just kind of the same thing. Means nothing. Means nothing, but here you are. Whatever. We're branching out to something else. But yeah, just by default, we have to believe we believe in
Something.
something because if we don't believe in anything, that's still you believing in something.
You believe in something.
Now,
Yeah.
but me, I'm not spiritual nor religious. Like I don't believe in neither of it, and I don't find it logical to believe in any of it. I I don't find that logical to believe in any of it because of everybody's certainty on it. That's the lot that your certainty doesn't prove anything to you that I can see. Like you spoke on it earlier, coincidences. The won't he do it moments are essentially coincidences. Like what a coincidence that you don't even believe
Prayed
in
about.
God. Yeah, you don't even believe in God. Let's just take your devil worshiper for example. You don't even believe in God. And according to all God believers, you're by default devil haters. So just say this car flip over 80 times. What a coincidence you don't have any broken bones. That what a coincidence is a won't he do it moment in all believers' moments. But the fact that you believe in this and hesitate to understand and to hesitate to the question of why do you believe, that's that's fishy, as we would say to me. That's like it's kind of like we kind of talked on this off record before. Is I get the notion. Again, I'm going back to everybody who I asked that question to, and also incorporating what you just said too, because nobody has, in a nutshell, veered away from what you just said. Out of all the people I believe in, I mean that I
And
talk
it's
to,
hard, and it's hard to veer away from it because you don't know. You know what I mean? You know, if I say I love my husband, I can name why I love my husband,
mm-hmm,
why I'm married to him, why I feel
excuse me,
like he's my soulmate and all that other stuff, right?
excuse me.
Um, as a so-called believer, I believe because once again, I was taught from out of birth that that's what you're supposed to do. Like that you're just supposed to believe and that he is. And so when you question it, you're wrong. You're labeled. You're like you said, you're almost like an outcast because you don't believe, and I've seen people
Yeah.
that are so-called atheists or whatever the title, that people that don't believe, and just how they're treated because they just don't believe, right? Because to me, I think me and my husband, we was watching something, and there was this white preacher, and he was mocking black pastors, and that they're hooping and stuff, which I can't freaking stand. Like, I can't stand going to a black church, a traditional church, and hearing, because I don't go anymore, right? And so, but if I'll go for a funeral or a wedding, or I'll go for that particular reason and that particular reason only. But just to go and hear that foolishness is just like, are you freaking like, this is a joke. That's when it's a joke to me. And I
Yeah,
think that's
and
when I really started questioning it, because and then I witnessed so many people that I don't know how many ministers that were married that have hit on me. That made me question a lot, right? Um, People that are supposedly called by God and behind the pulpit, and that have the title of a minister, and their character outside of the church is just ratchet.
but again,
And
that's
so that was like, well, how do you say you believe again? How do y'all say y'all believe, and this is what you say that you're living, and you don't live it? Like, I feel like somebody like me that's a non-believer live better than they do.
what and I had a conversation on what is a good person before. Like, what do we consider
You're a good person.
a good person? Because of what you just said. Like, I like to use this as an example because uh I think it just makes sense. You seen New Jack City before?
Yes.
So you're aware of Nino Brown. Now, we know who Nino Brown is, and everybody knows who Nino Brown is. But come Christmas, Thanksgiving, and any other what we consider a holiday, Nino Brown is out there doing what we consider good people
Considered
to
good
do.
people. Yeah.
So does that make Nino Brown a good person, or does that make all of us okay people? Because we we all, according to the religion, sin. But also according to the religion, if you go deeper into it, just breathing, waking up in the morning and breathing is sinning. So what exactly is a good person? And going back to I want to take it back to uh back earlier when I said I'm not spiritual or nor religious. Is that, like I said, I don't find it logical to be religious, or I don't find it logical to believe in God. I don't find it logical to be spiritual because we don't even know what a spirit is. Like, I had it's a I would like to have you on this question on this episode too when I gather the folks, because I asked the question on a recent podcast that who are you? Like, not I like to play basketball, I like this type of food. No, who are you? Like, is your soul you, or is your brain you? And one of the two is a mechanism, and the other one we call a soul or a spirit. So for I can't. I'm not. I'm choosing not to believe because no one. can demonstrate what they preach. And what I mean by demonstrate what they preach, we got a lot of these people who talk you know, how to unlock the inner peace, or how to unlock the inner gates of the human body or the human soul, and this and this and this and that. And but everybody that I heard and everybody who I talked to that does says that you got to reach deep down in your spirit. You got to reach down. You got to be in one with you, one with your spirit. But I'm like,
How
why?
do you
I
do
mean,
that?
why for one, but also how are you
Wow.
saying what you're saying when you get mad still? Like, you still get mad still, and people use the whole term of, well, he's still working on me. If he when he's not working on you, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's like you're you're leading, you're taking bits and pieces from the religion and doing the spiritual people. You're taking bits and pieces from the religion and doing exactly what Catholics, Muslims, Baptists, all they did. All of them are Christians. People don't. Muslims are Christians. Baptists are Christians. Catholics are Christians. And there's many other spin-offs of Christian. But here they are. Oh, also Christian as well, spiritual people, because they don't believe in the Bible, the God that's in the Bible, but they believe in God. Well, that's the Bible. If you believe in God, that's what Bible tells you. The Bible tells you God. So if you're going off the name or terminology God, then you're Christian or Christian-ish.
So
So
when I look
uh,
at other people and they start calling him a different name, he's Jehovah, he's Yahweh, he's and I'm thinking like, what's the difference?
well, one, uh, I've just started to get into Allah. Well, Yahweh, for one, going off what I've heard, is Yahweh is the biblical God,
Okay.
and excuse me, the biblical, and Allah is, excuse me, God as well, but it's Muslim. It's the Muslim version of God. And when I started in the what you call that book of theirs, Quran. I didn't start
So
reading
okay,
it.
okay, so I have never researched the Muslims. So how did the Muslim religion
Well, according
come up
to what
come
I've
about?
come across, Muslim is a lot younger than is. You could kind of say it's relatively recently ago. It's older than Mormon, which is like 200 years ago, or so. But it's older. It's older than that. But I believe, from what I come across, it's much younger than Christianity as well. But still, all of this, Mormons as well, Christians, they believe, they go.
But everybody
I
still
did. I did.
supposedly believe in the same God.
Well, they essentially believe in the same God, but you're they'll say, well, not my God. My God does this. I'm like, well, that's when I come in with another question.
Okay.
Have you ever actually met your God? Have you actually heard your God speak to you outside of what you just told me in the beginning of this and what everybody else has told me? Because what you told me is the reason you believe is because you were brought up to believe, but you continue to somewhat believe because, essentially, in a nutshell, from what I'm getting from your expression of what you're telling me and what everybody else collectively, in a nutshell, is a feeling. You don't actually believe that God itself or himself actually is a real thing, but you believe in the feeling that it gives you to believe that God is a real thing.
I think that's
And
accurate. I,
and,
I,
and
I
I
think that's probably the most accurate depiction of the definition of believers. Because
because nobody believes wholeheartedly. Nobody believes wholeheartedly.
I
They
don't know how anybody can totally believe. Like I know people that say they do,
That's because
but
they
your
don't know the
actions
meaning
don't.
of words.
But your actions don't show that you do.
Exactly, exactly,
But your actions don't tell me that you do. You tell me it comes out of your mouth, but your actions don't tell me that you wholeheartedly believe.
exactly. So essentially, again, that makes me think more. And also, I had a guy who told me some similar things that you said too. It just became a part of me. It just so I just do. So it was kind of like a muscle memory that I believe. So I'm like, that's what I started
It,
believe.
it's
That's
it's
when I
kind of
started
like
thinking about. That's what I started thinking about the term when I said when you was on called aware of your own delusion, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds the best. I explained it to my sister today as we were talking. I was like, it sounds like you know that this right here will absolutely kill you if you do what you're about to do, but you believe that it won't kill you because you're doing it. And I'm like, that sounds like you aware of your own delusion. Like you know this will kill you by doing what you're doing, but you believe that it won't kill you because you're doing what you're doing. You got so much belief that it won't kill you, but you know for a fact that this will kill you, so you do it anyway. And that's what it seems. It sounds like you aware of your own delusion. And I know how that sounds out loud saying it too, but that's
it
like the
sounds
best way I
crazy out
can.
loud,
Exactly, but that's like the
right?
best way I can explain it from what people talk to me about. So that's why I thought I don't. That's why I don't feel like it's logical to believe in anything other than yourself. That's the sole
But
thing that
and
you
and
should
so
believe in.
and so in my research, I came to the best part to help me was that God is within you, that you are God. And that's the delusion. Like everybody is God, right? And so it's like, well, how does that make sense? Help me to make that make sense, right? And so it then it becomes then when you start looking at the script, when you start looking at the scripture, let's talk about he said love yourself,
Mhm.
love God with all your heart and all your mind and all that. And then it says to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think that's what it's I think that's what it says, right? And so when I looked at that and I look at how many people don't love themselves,
They don't love
but call
themselves
themselves a
because
Christian, but call themselves a Christian.
yeah, and I feel like they don't love themselves because the religion itself instills you to self-hate. It instills
Yes,
self-hate into
because
you, and it
you're looking at your deficiencies or your shortcomings or your lack of discipline to be able to do what is taught is the right thing. Um, you
but
know,
at the same time, yeah, at the same time, it's like I have a huge fascination with imagination as well, and I believe, which also we're pro, we've been like we stated again, the word believe. Yeah, I just said I believe. I don't really believe a lot of the things that I uh go off
have been taught.
using yeah, given the context of how we use the word believe, because I feel like the believe is a glorified word for think. Like if you read the definition of belief, it has like 5 to plus definitions of it, and all of them consist of the word think. None of them actually consist of certainty. And that's the part that I think helps with the brainwashing of religion,
Oh,
is that people use the word believe. They throw belief around. I believe this, I believe that. And
or
they
I think
believe,
when you can,
yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, just replace the word
just
believe
replace the
with
word with
think.
think.
Yeah, and when you in using that word, I believe, in the mental state of believers, that's what certainty is. That's what actuality is. The word believe says that this is what it is, rather it just being you believing what you believe. Nobody else really doesn't have to believe what you believe. But in this case, by it being a religion in a specific one, all of us would have to actually believe what you believe, because that's what the religion consists of. It's not what I get out of it when I read the Bible. It's not what you get out of it when you read the Bible. And it's not what any other individual person, people who read the Bible, get out of it. We all supposed to get the exact same thing out of it, because it's the exact same God that we're reading about. So he doesn't, when you see in a mirror, you don't see the image of God per se, because we will all look alike there. We will all just be
We're
what we
all
see
in the image
stick
of it. We're
figures.
all look alike,
Yeah.
and that's where the spirit is supposed to come into place. Where our spirits are all supposed to look alike, right?
and that's,
I think that's a lot.
I ain't never heard of that one, but that's, you bring spirit into it. That's another funny thing that helps brainwash people, because here you are not being a believer, and here you are reading this book to try to get some insight on what everybody is
Everybody else
getting
is
out
supposed
of
to
it.
believe.
But the thing about that is, I recommend, don't read the Bible to get whatever you get out of it, or what anybody says you get out of it. Just read that mug. Don't try to look for nothing. Don't try to get nothing. And
Just read it
the
like a
most
novel.
important, yeah, and the most important thing is, don't try to translate anything. Why are you translating what's already been translated for you to understand? And that right there is where
Yeah,
all
because
the
then
pick.
now, because I think there was one particular said that when Jesus supposedly spoke, everything is in parables, or that everything is written in the Bible so that only believers can understand. But if you're supposed to be trying to get everybody, if
Exactly. That's the loophole.
if every tongue is supposed to confess, and if every knee shall bow and every tongue is supposed to confess, then why would it not be written for everybody to be able to read it and comprehend it so that they can become a believer?
Because for one, that's the loophole right there. But that's one of the loopholes right there. But to help with that, to add to that, to the imagination of what we believe in, because that's, I feel like it's all imagination, 100% imagination. Because again, nobody has ever met God. I doubt you have, because you can't convince me you have either, especially with the stuff that you keep telling me that's similar to why you believe, Coach Terri. But because you can't tell me why you believed in the first place. But to add to what you're saying, you can't even begin to believe without the Holy Spirit giving you the notion, the feeling, or is what I'm saying it is, in
And
order for you
and
to
and
start believing, which
and
is
that right
that's the
there,
loophole right there.
that right there is problem is what holds me. So there have been so many times where, like, you get, what is it? You get a gut feeling about something, or I think about something, and then it becomes, it just becomes. or um
Manifestation.
it manifests. Yes, it manifests.
That's funny
Um
too.
yeah. And so now it's like I believe more in manifestation. So now I think I've been studying more manifestation more than I
Mm,
have been,
mm. Oh, I'm
right?
hearing you. I'm
Because
hearing
even the
you.
word say, I think the word, does the word say, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he, right? And so then when I started changing just the way that I thought about stuff, because they said first God thought it and then he spoke it, right? And so I do believe in writing the vision and making plain. I do believe, but all that stuff doesn't necessarily mean that there's a God, right?
It-
So
No, it
that still
doesn't.
hasn't convinced me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a
I
conversation about that
want
too.
to believe that there is, because that's what I've been taught. I want to believe that there is.
And
But then
that's the main. Oh,
then
I'm
I
sorry. I
question,
keep cutting you off.
but if he's all knowing and all that, why can't we live in the whole utopia? Why can't we live in that whole peaceful life and everybody's all hunky dory and everybody loves each other? Why does it have to be negativity?
Because of the brainwashing of the Bible, the brainwashing of religion. Period. It don't make a difference what religion it is. It's brainwashing. Is the Bible says that the more you suffer, the more you become gloriful or
Yes.
to God in God's eyes. And if you suffer, if you take the burden on to yourself upon yourself that really wasn't your burden, meaning other people's BS, that how I'm seeing
Yeah.
it,
That you're looked upon
you're looked upon even more favorable than
more
just the
so,
people
yeah,
who's just
favorable
suffering.
than somebody whose life is just bliss.
Exactly, and
And
again,
so then,
that's
and
part of the
I
self
agree,
hatred. I think that's the self hatred part of it,
you know,
because people
so
also don't believe that that they're they're holy enough or um pure enough to even begin to pray to this God that they believe in, but don't understand why they believe in. So again, I feel like to believe in God is to believe in yourself. And here you are self hating yourself because in your head, you have an imagination of the perspective of what you were told growing up about these entities, God, Jesus, and the devil, about these entities. And as you're growing, you're like you said, I don't want to believe, or I want to believe, like the guy, I asked this guy, do you think God is part human? Because he has human traits. He has human like traits. First of all,
he's
emotions is
jealous.
a human trait. That's, you just leave it at that.
Yeah,
We can just say emotions, period. Emotions
are
is a
human
human trait.
traits.
That
Yes.
being said, he told me, no, I don't think God is human because I don't even want to believe that God is human. So that's why you choosing to still use muscle memory as a reason of why you believe as a grown person. You're not taking the time out your life to think why you believe in stuff. Like I think humans just believe in believing in stuff. They don't necessarily believe in anything, but we believe in believing in stuff. If you get what I'm saying, and for you to
It's
say,
I'm a sports person. I love what you're saying.
Mhm.
I'm a sports person. So if I believe running a cover four against a team that is throwing the ball is better than running a cover one, that's what I believe.
True, but here's the thing about believing. You don't have to believe if you did that cover. What you call it, cover four? Excuse me. if you did that, we have to use the 9 out of 10 scale. If you
Yeah.
did that cover for 9 out of 10 times and it happens, you don't have to believe. There's no reason
There's
to
no reason
believe
to not
because you
yeah,
know it's going to
know that
happen.
it works.
You know it works, so you don't have to believe. That's why you believing in God is what it is. You don't know why you believe because you don't know what's there, but you fear not believing so much.
And that's
You,
the brainwashing is the fear.
exactly. Fear is the yeah. Fear is your God, or imagination is the catalyst to why fear is your God. Because again, the Bible has nobody ever meeting God. Nobody ever met God. People spoke according to the book, met God. Moses, none of the prophets met him. Jesus didn't even meet God until after he died. People claim they heard him speak, but nobody still never met God. So for anybody off the streets or anybody that's in my world that's I'm possessing in and walking around, for you to tell me that you met God and you still in the same boat as I, for the most part, then what makes you that much more better than the actual prophets handpicked by God Himself, whom have never met God? What makes you that much more better than Jesus, whom have never met God until after He died? So, and the only prophet that came close to describing what God may actually look like is being shown from other believers, even though they believe that he's a prophet, which is Ezekiel, which described that God is this creature sitting on this throne like thing with a head, torso, and 4 limbs, the image of a human being. But yet, that same prophet gets shunned by other people who believe that he's a prophet, but yet you don't want to believe this, what he's saying, though. You shun it off as, oh, that's a dream. That's a dream. Okay. So if we can't believe this prophet, why are we believing any other prophet in the book or any other, what you call that, disciple in the book? Why are we believing disciples over prophets? It's because you want to. You
Because you
want to
want to,
believe. You
and
want to
because
believe.
you've been taught to believe. I
Yep.
had started attending this church a couple years through my daughter. My daughter started going to the church, and what attracted me to the church was that it was diverse, right? Because I thought it was stupid that churches are segregated on Sundays. So I didn't like going to a black church.
Segregated. What?
Like that concept to
Why
me
is it
just didn't make sense
segregated
to me,
any day? Why is it segregated any day, let alone a Sunday?
let alone on a Sunday,
But you know what I
right?
came?
So that
Oh,
was
sorry.
like
Go ahead.
one
I'm
of the
sorry.
things. I'm sorry, my bad. But that was one of the things that led me to shun away from church because I didn't understand that concept. I was like, so we're Christians and we're like God, but we only gonna go to a black church,
In
and
order
white
to
people only
be,
go to a white church.
in order to be like God, you will have to ask questions. You will have to gain knowledge. That's the only way to be like God. Is for you not to ask questions and to just blindly follow because what you believe in your imagination that a voice told you to say in or do is God. You're not asking any questions because again, if that same voice with your wholehearted beliefs, that same voice was to ask you to sacrifice a kid or a family member or a very much loved one that you give purpose in your life, you ain't gonna do it because you're gonna think that's ludicrous. You're gonna think that's ludicrous. You wouldn't be
And
able to
and and, and
fathom.
why would you? And if you're a loving God, why would you even? feel like you have to test me.
God even said, should I even let Abraham know what I'm about to ask of him? Basically, God is contemplating deception.
But even the story with when
He's
he and God, him and
contemplating
the devil supposedly had the conversation about Job. Well, go ahead and test my and Job went through hell. You know what I'm saying, if I'm Job and I go get into heaven, I'm
for
like,
nothing,
so this was a game?
for nothing. And we
I
stated
went through
before,
all that because you had to prove like and why would God have to prove himself to the devil?
because God Himself is psychotic. God is bloodthirsty. God is God Himself for real. God is a get down or lay down character, and He's extremely bloodthirsty. And one of my theories, but remember at first, let me say before this theory of mine, is that the devil is extremely scarce in the Bible. He's barely in there at all versus those two things you said, but yet everything gets blamed on this character here. Also, nobody has never seen the devil either.
Devil.
They never seen the devil either, but yet they already made it up in their head that they hate this nigga. All because of their imagination told them to.
So okay, so now the new conspiracy theory is they're coming up with this whole new world order thing. And the new world order is going to be based off of prophecy from Revelation, where an antichrist is going to come in and take over the world. We're going to think he's of God, but he's not going to be of God, but nobody's not going to be able to recognize that he's the devil,
can,
because the
can,
devil is all, you know,
but can we say,
he's the master deceiver, where he'll make things look like it's something but it's not. And and then there's another book. There's a series of books, and I can't remember the name of them. And the books, oh, I can't think of the name of. I hope it comes to me while we're talking. But there was a series of books that I was reading, and in those books, it talked about how God was how the devil was ruling the world, and God was just sitting back, non-existent, not saying anything. And so there was a
really?
period of time, or maybe we're in that time now where, you know, God is just kind of just letting the devil just have his reign over the world, and he's just sitting back, because that's what it looks like.
But again, that's still
But
retarded.
why would you do that if you're
Exactly.
God?
That's still retarded because again,
Why would you do that if you're God?
let's just say that there are actual people that wholeheartedly believe. Let's just say that they are there. You are supposed to be protecting them from all weapons formed against them. Basically, diseases and all of that. If it's a weapon, if it's used to take life, that's not supposed to prosper. But yet, here you are, we're going to let them go in the hospital for a little bit, but we ain't going to let it kill them. Well, that's damaging me. That's you showing that I did something wrong when you already told me, when I imagined you talking to me, that I was doing it all right. I'm believing you wholeheartedly. I already killed two of my kids for you. But yet here I am wholeheartedly believing in you, and I still can't make this mountain move, even though all I need is a mustard seed, though. And here you are would tell me that, oh, that's just a metaphor. Well, let's go with that. Let's say it is a metaphor. Why do you believe he's jealous then? Because that's the absolute only thing God has stated that he is. He never said that
He's
he's
a jealous
merciful.
God.
He never said he's loving. He never even said he cared about anybody. And actually, when you just go through the Bible, God ain't doing jack in the Bible but causing destruction. That's all he's doing is causing destruction throughout the whole entire. But God is like the cops now. You call 911, you let them know when everything is over with, and I'll be there. That's really similar to God. And again, that's why again I don't see anything logical to believe in this spiritually or religiously. Another reason to
And what
add,
you say makes absolute logical sense.
and honestly, and I even stated that God right now can actually be the real deal, come right in front of me right now and say that he's real and all this and that. I will believe it, but I would not roll with him. I still wouldn't roll with him. Why? Because he's a get down or lay down type of character. He's a Nino Brown. If you don't do what he said, you will suffer the
Suffer
consequences.
consequences.
If you ask questions like the Bible and everybody believes you can say, and the Bible does say, hey, ask questions, go ahead, you can. But everybody who asks questions in the Bible pay for a price, pay with it for a price. They never just got a direct answer or a straight up answer without something happening to them for doubting. Questioning is doubting. That's the loophole. That's the loophole right there. Yeah, you can question, go ahead. But the fact that you're questioning,
Questioning is
you're
gonna cause,
it's
and
gonna
I'm gonna be
cost you
totally
your
honest with you right now.
freedom.
The fact that I'm sitting here verbally on public TV questioning it, I have a fear that something will happen, right? Um, to make me question questioning. Does that make sense?
Exactly. And that's the fear. That's the
Yes,
fear. It's no
yes.
reason for you to fear your imagination. There's no reason for you to fear something that you know without a doubt. You don't even have to prove it to me. You ain't got to prove it to me. You ain't even got to just believe me when I say we both know that you ain't met nobody that's called God. Just me and you both know that you ain't talked to nobody called God. Why? Because here you are having a conversation with me. One, and on top of that, you hesitated when I asked you, why do you believe? The fact that you're
Because
doubting
I had
your
to,
own
and my
belief,
hesitation was
your
like I had to question my own belief about I don't, what, I don't ever sat
you,
here and asked myself, why? Or
yeah,
why do I believe? Um,
because
but
thinking,
I questioned everything I've learned. I
because
totally questioned
thinking,
the Bible about its whole existence
mm-hmm,
because of what facts, and I'm not going by hearsay, she say, what people have just facts. Some of the
but
books of the
what
Bible are
facts though?
missing.
What are the facts?
Some of the books of the Bible are missing. Okay, so if I have a cookbook and a recipe and I flip the page and a page is missing, I'm I'm gonna totally miss something. So how can we consciously say that the Bible is everything when they have clearly have proven that there were books that were not written, that were taken out of it?
Well, because the Bible, for one, revised it. They revised the Bible. They revised the Bible to fit modern day evolution of religion. And so, well, Jesus didn't say this actually. What he actually said was, I don't
Yeah,
believe in anything found new. Anything
yeah.
found new, I don't believe because why? It could be just easily as planted as this made up fiction here. It's like you telling
Yeah.
me this is you'll believe this. This is the idiocy of humanity, that the older it is, the more believable it
The
is.
more
Like
believable it is.
that don't even make no like if you believe in like creatures, or like no, that didn't believe. But if you believe, the older
So,
the text is, you believe it more, and that's retarded. You don't even ask questions. Again, you won't take time to think about why you believe in something, but yet here you are believing in said something.
but here's a perfect example of what you just said. We believe in the education system. We
Hmm.
believe in the medical system. And both of those are flawed because if you go and look at the research, Rockefeller, who had a whole lot of money, wanted to change things. And so now we have, now if are a doctor, your job is to prescribe medication. Your job is not to come up with, and I'm gonna use this, uh, a a natural remedy that God created. You're not
Because
allowed to use
nobody
that.
believes wholeheartedly enough for that.
But you can't use a natural remedy that you can find in a natural setting. It has to be prescribed medication. But yet we've been taught that we have to go to doctors and believe in doctors. But the third largest way of dying in the world is medical malpractice. But we don't want to have that conversation, right? So if the third way of dying is medical malpractice, then why do we still believe that we have to go to a doctor when we're sick? It's
Because
kind of like the same, it's kind of like the same thing. Because it's again, it goes back to what you just said. That's just how we've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed that we have to go to school. So we go to school for 8 hours a day. We sit in four walls or whatever like that. And all that is brainwashing to get us ready to go work a 9 to 5 for somebody else.
and it's
It
also
doesn't,
brainwashing us to believe in the religion that they don't believe in, but they know if we can get them to believe in it, then everything else will fall in order.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And I think that's how we as Black people got brainwashed into that integration was better for us than staying segregated.
because we,
Yeah.
man, it's like I said, I think cornerstone. I think the cornerstone of humanity's psychological issues is religion.
Religion. I
Is
agree.
religion. All your psychological issues spurs from
Or from
what religion
whether you believe or whether you
instills
not
in
believe.
you. Exactly, whether you believe it, because we don't start to recognize ourselves for the most part until we become adults. 25 and older, probably. Hopefully, we start to understand a little bit more prior, but for the most part, most of us don't start to recognize and to even, most of us don't even start to appreciate knowledge itself until we become an adult. And even as an adult, if it doesn't take interest in us, that's when fiction becomes nonfiction disguised as fiction. Because we're not going to take the time, like the definition of fiction. We believe in it because it's expedient to do so. The Bible, it's fiction, no matter how you look at it. History, period, it's
It's
fiction, no
fiction.
matter how you look at it. Even if it's just like mostly, I ain't gonna say mostly, a lot of stuff spurs from what we like to think a truth is somewhere if we look for it. But
Oh, I think that's my biggest saying is what is the truth?
but
Like
it's
like that's
somewhere in
that's
that fiction that
that's
we
my
ain't paying
life
attention
is
to.
is 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 seeking the truth. I just want to know the truth.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
why I'm
and it could
concerned.
slap
Oh,
and
I'm
it could
sorry.
probably
I'm
slap me
sorry.
in my face and I still probably wouldn't believe it.
But you wouldn't believe it because I ain't even gonna say you probably would. I think a lot of us would believe it, but just like we choose not to believe, we're going to just brush it off because like I stated before, I acknowledge that, like I just recently stated, if God was to come down right now and tell me that He is God, I will believe this entity that's in front of me. But I will still choose not to follow said entity. Why? Because I read what said entity does with its followers. I've
Yeah.
read what said entity does
Well, I
to
mean,
people, even for people who say they
why
do
would
believe,
anybody want to suffer?
because God said so. God says it's okay to suffer. God, what you said earlier about the school and all that stuff. Um, the Bible also tells you to govern unto your government. Being this is and again another loophole. Another loophole. Like you're supposed to put God first,
Obey.
but God is
My
telling you
mom,
to
my
govern
mama
unto
said,
your
obey the
government.
law of the land.
Exactly. And that's what the Bible telling you. Obey the law of the land. But yet here I go. I can't put you first and obey these niggas. Because one, you're not protecting me against the
From
things that prosper on me. Here I am telling you, I believe you. I believe you wholeheartedly. I'm telling you, I will ice 5 of my kids for you right now, if that's what you want. But here I am, gotta go and do what the Pharaoh tell me to do. If I don't, that nigga gonna kill me, and if I do, you gonna kill me. So that's why I said I wouldn't go. I wouldn't even follow God, even if I truly believe He came down and told me I'm God. Cool. I now know you're real. Keep your distance from me. And how about we try this thing called letting people be?
mm.
Try this thing called letting them
But
live
we're
what they
supposedly,
actually want to
but
live.
and that's it too. We're supposedly have free will. Like he supposedly he gives us the opportunity to just
Illusion. That's an
that's
illusion.
what he's supposed yeah.
Look,
That we're
we
supposed
do have,
to believe
we do
because we want to believe.
exactly. We do have the free will to not believe. But again, like I stated,
But it's a consequence if that's the
it's a
case.
consequence. Yes, he's a get down or lay down character. You don't have to believe in God. That's your supposedly God given right. Is
And
you can
suffer the
make the choice
consequences if you
not to
don't.
believe. But if you don't believe, you're going to have a miserable life.
Life.
No matter how good you do in life, no matter how you can go through life not even caring about that other people exist, just going about, hey, I'm like, here you go. I found the extra dollar in my pocket. I don't need it. Here you go. Boom. Hey, I ain't looking for no thank you. I don't even want you to say thank you, but if you do, it's much appreciated. All this and that. Hey, I'm about to hook you up. I'm about to do this whole entire front cabinet for you, because I ain't got nothing else to do, and I'm cool like that. You ain't got to worry about it. If you pay me, cool. You don't, also cool. I'm just doing it because I feel like doing it. But now that bullet that went through my heart, since I didn't believe in God while me doing all this good things in the world, well, I should have believed then. And that's the case that what you said, mentioned earlier, and what everybody who I asked, why do you personally believe, is really afraid of not
Fear.
believing so much more than actually believing that God is actually real or not. I
So then it goes all the way back to the beginning. How did we get here?
well, Want to go with biblical, you would have to take it to the book of Enoch, which is been stripped away from
which has been
the
stripped away from the book.
Americanized Bible, which Enoch is in the Bible for 2 lines that says Enoch was here and God took him. That's it. But come to find out, this nigga got 5 books, 4 plus books, and the first one dimes out God so much. Like it tells of a humanity of a civilization before Adam. It tells of a civilization, or it pretty much dimes out that God is really not all knowing because he didn't decide. If he is all knowing, he want to actually see if they're going to go through with what it is that they thinking about going through with before he decided to say, hey, before one of my minions come back and tell me what you done did, I'm going to see if you're going to actually do it or not. But you all knowing, so you know that he's going to
So
do
you
it.
know what he's getting ready to do.
Exactly. So here you are now creating, now in my mental state, you're creating an adversary for yourself because you don't want to face the accountability of your own creations. You created this freaking entity called the devil so you can place blame on him, even though he ain't doing nothing in the whole Bible, but yet everybody believes in this nigga too. One of my theories is the God and or God, the devil is, let's just say the devil is real. If the devil is real, then the devil is impersonating God and or Jesus in the book. The devil, the God in the Bible, in the Jesus in the Bible, is the
Is the
devil.
devil.
Because everything leads to
Mm.
all this. Well, first of all, before I say that, everything all bloodshed, all war is orchestrated by God in the book. The book tells you when God and Jesus is doing and or saying something, and everything is orchestrated by God. All the bloodshed, all the tyranny, all that free will manipulation. When he gets bored, the Pharaoh again, things that people read in the Bible, they just can't phantom that God is doing what they're reading him do because
So
it doesn't fit their
so
perception of what they were told growing up of him.
so so God had all of the firstborn sons killed.
God had all the firstborn
God killed.
sons
Now
slaughtered.
we tripping about abortion, but nobody goes back and talk about all the firstborn sons that were slaughtered by God.
And all the bloodshed is orchestrated by God. All the it's so many things that leads that mentions fire and brimstone about heaven. And when you get to Revelations, when this rapture and all this stuff, God
And the
loses
and the and the
at the
pit and the
end of the
fire
whole
pit.
entire fight. He loses in the whole entire fight because it states that the heavens and everybody in it is going to burn
I
down.
don't know.
That tells you God lost, but yet he still convinced you somehow to make him your God. I do poetry. I swear, I created a character called Rebel Jesus, and I take on the persona as Jesus, but so every time I reference God, I say dad or pops or any variation of father. Uh, but in on one of them, my latest one, I stated that you hate living as a slave, but you volunteer your soul to be a slave while protesting white folks to behave. And ain't nobody told Pops that he should be ashamed of himself. I know that because you got to say in Jesus' name or what I say, you have to say, in my name you pray, or he will turn away. You will voluntarily, like you stated earlier. I, I don't know why I believe, but I believe. I mean, and that's cool. And I'm not bashing people who do believe. Believing helps people sometimes. I'm not bashing that. I just want to. That's why I say I'm more intrigued. I'm not. I don't even care about the religion per se. I'm more intrigued with why you believe in something, because people die for not believing. You
for not
believe in
believing.
something. Yeah, you believe in something that was growth, that was groomed from so much carnage, that your God manipulated. And here you are saying, well, my God don't. My God is like, well, again, you haven't met this God of yours, but yet you have so much certainty. You have, I said so many things about why I don't believe, just like that. And you still can't tell me why you believe. Again, not you per se, but just people in
Yeah.
general.
No,
and and that's the fascinating part to me, more so than the actual religion. All right, for you to be a female, you out of all humans on a globe should not believe in this. You are nothing but an incubator and currency to this religion. And you pay attention to the world, that's exactly how you get treated in real life. You're incubators and currency. And for you to believe in a God that tells you that you can't even pray to him, you're not even allowed to put God first unless your husband tells you can. And then before you pray to him, you have to pass it by your husband first to see that he approve of this prayer of yours to get sent to. Why do you believe in that? Why would you willingly, voluntarily sell your soul to be a
and see,
slave when
and
you don't
that's the
like living
part,
as a slave?
and that's the part that tells you that people don't truly study what it says. Because if the way you just put that right there, no, ain't none of us believing in that.
I don't get it. I don't
None
understand
of us
why.
getting, ain't none of us following that. I
Like
don't know
again,
not one female that feels like, okay, what's the purpose of me praying? Number one, because if I don't have a husband, so what when you don't have a husband, then what? Because you're supposed to have a
oh,
covering.
oh, well, it
You're
also,
supposed to have a covering, right? So if you're a woman, so you're basically saying that, you don't God doesn't hear you because you're a woman.
oh, he doesn't. God is 100% racist, and
Sexist.
uh, yeah, you can say sexist. Yeah, God is racist and sexist. For one, he only absolutely cares about Abraham's descendants, Isaac and them. That's all he cares about. That's all he talks about in the Bible. That's it. All his descendants. And if you are a female, you either a prostitute or barren. You can't have kids or you're a prostitute. That's all you are in this religion and in this book. You get raped, that person is punished by marrying you. That's the laws you have to govern to, because your God says so. Moses and all the prophets were going on raids because God said, "Hey,
Go and take the land.
you remember that time I told you your great granddaddy and them was gonna get this land? Well, those people are over there now. Gonna pillage,
Go,
rape, take the women,
go
children,
and
whatever you want.
possess, go and possess the land. And who was it,
Any
Caleb,
means
and the other one. There's
necessary.
giants in there's giants in the land.
Any means necessary. Go over there and grab it. I'm like, and that's another thing. That's another reason why I say I wouldn't go with God, even if He came down and said that I am your Lord and Savior. And again, I will 100% believe that, but I still wouldn't go with Him. Why? Because I make the choice to actually research what this guy will do to me. If he, matter of fact, I ain't even got to do anything wrong. Whenever he decided to be bored, whenever he decided to be bored, my life is just a casualty.
A crap shoot.
Exactly, a casualty. Like the Pharaoh, the Pharaoh said that he gonna let them people go. Moses was sent on so many dummy missions, and God told him that these were dummy missions. But Moses, still being aware of his own delusion, still chose to go do these freaking missions that God told him to do about the Pharaoh. And God told him, I will harden his heart purposely. After I told you to do all this stuff, purposely. Do that about 8 more times. One of those times, Pharaoh was like, you know what? Forget it. Take him. God made the Pharaoh change his mind. Nah, it's all good. I got him back. I take him. When he did release him, the Pharaoh and the people didn't even want to go after him. He said, all right, just let him go. Get it. We either get some more or we got it. God made the Pharaoh under his own free will, not under his own free will, get up and chase after Moses and them people. God sent Moses, the Pharaoh, there solely to kill the Pharaoh and his people, just to show he punished all these people, including the slaves, while Moses is doing all these things. He punished all these people just to show that he can do this. That's all. That's all. It wasn't about freeing the people. It was just to show that I can do what I said I can
That
do.
I can do.
Nothing to do with Moses, nothing to do with the people, nothing to do with you. At this point, you have empathy for the freaking Pharaoh.
Because he was trying to do the right thing, but then God hardened his heart.
All because he just wanted to boast about his supposedly almighty power, but here you are getting mad at what you know already. Since you know everything. Look,
Ooh, I got a couple of people that y'all would be on here fighting, boy, because you can't tell
oh,
them
we
that
wouldn't
that
be
Bible
fighting.
ain't real, child.
Trust me, we wouldn't be fighting. You wouldn't, because I would have cut the whole show off by that time, because most blind followers won't even get as far as why you don't believe. I mean, why do you believe?
Why they believe
Why believe? At that point, they're already too uncomfortable to talk about what their most beloved possession is in their heart, which is God. Yeah, but I came across some information about what the Earth is made out of. The Earth and the heavens, which is first, heaven is a glorified word for sky. That's what I believe it means. It doesn't mean anything of spectacular of holiness. It just means sky.
also
But
you mean that when we go to heaven, it's not going to be many mansions and streets of gold? You mean
probably
it's not going
not.
to be that?
Probably not.
But that's
But
what the word says heaven is.
the word also says that God is loving and merciful, but God never stated that he was loving and merciful. He only said jealous. That's it. That's all they said. That's all. And jealousy is a very, very dangerous emotion. It's a very dangerous
Very.
emotion.
Very
It's
matter of fact, it's funny. Oh my God, like that right there is a perfect example because I can't stand dealing with people that have a jealous, you know,
mm,
uh
jealous
anything
spirit,
jealous,
bro. Yeah,
a
jealous
jealous
spirit.
spirit because it's
Hmm.
negative. So why
Exactly.
again, so now why am I following this jealous God? Because
Because
jealousy will make you do some stupid stuff.
fearing him is again, it's that imagination thing. Like imagination is your God. That's how I see it. Imagination is your God because again, I know somebody's hearing this, and I know a little bit more than somebody is hearing this too. And neither one of them can. I can bet them. I'm willing to bet my check that you can't prove that you met nor actually spoke to God. You can't outside of what you about to describe to me, which is a feeling. A feeling is nothing. A feeling is an
Yeah.
emotion.
But yeah,
Good.
it's definitely that. Because when I think about my what I think is an intuition, my intuition is what I thought was the Holy Spirit.
That's your
But
imagination.
but
But
again,
that's how I see it. I see that's your
it's the same.
imagination.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. It's still a feeling.
Like, yeah,
It's
it's
still
like
a feeling. It's still a feeling. I have a gut feeling that I should do this, or this came
mm-hmm.
to me, this thought came to me, or I was able to solve this problem, or because I don't know how many times where I've just been like when I'm at work and oh, I think it's like common there's stuff that's common sense to me that's not common sense to other people as far as like problem solving skills.
Yeah, people are intimidated by thinking. They're afraid to think because religion subliminally teaches you not to think. You're only
And so when
supposed to
I'm
do.
like that, yes. And so when I'm in that mode where, okay, y'all are working too hard, let's do it this way. And then they'll look at me because because it comes from me, because Black women are always got to be intimidating and loud, and we're unintelligent. So if I come up with an idea in the workforce, and to me it's common sense, or I get a feeling about how something, and I'll put it to the test to see whether or not my theory of doing it a different way works, and then it works. What I feel like that came from the Holy Spirit, but it's still a feeling.
But and I understand.
I
Yeah,
used to
I
think that it was
understand why.
holy. I just thought God was just gave me a gift. Thought it was a gift from God.
And again, it's understandable because I used to did not want to talk about religion at all because I didn't want I didn't want to talk about it for. I now realize I didn't want to talk about it because I wasn't as sure as I am now about it. Again, not certain, but as sure as I am about it. And I didn't want anybody to flip their own script due to what I said about it. What I said, like, because again, I ain't saying I got the power to do that, but my observation of humanity,
So your
we're that
observation of
retarded. We're that
your
retarded.
observation,
And
having a conversation with you, having a conversation with you makes you think,
I, I, I know for one, I force people to think.
makes you question what you believe.
Exactly. Whether you ever thought
Because
about it
you
ever
bring
before. Oh, I'm sorry.
again, because but because you challenge the status quo, you challenge the belief system. And oh my God, I preach that all the time. It's funny that we're having this conversation because I'm the first person to tell people to challenge what you believe about everything.
Yep. The show used to be called Challenge Your Beliefs, but I changed it to Challenge Our Beliefs because my beliefs are just as flawed as every last one of y'all believe. So again, hold on. Say what? But yeah, what was I going? You had said something about hold on, what'd you say? Not challenge my. I never. It never was challenge my. It was challenge your. Like yeah,
Challenge your beliefs. Okay.
yeah. That's what. Oh, that was my wife talking to me. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. It was challenge your beliefs at first because I thought about that because people are already afraid of conversation. So your is like me coming down on you, like you're like, but hey, it's my beliefs are just as flawed. So challenge our beliefs because again, I'm not denouncing that God doesn't exist. I
That's
just want
why
to
I can have
understand.
a conversation and not get mad.
Hey, you want to know? I think more so you can have a conversation, not get mad because you're not a believer like you think you are. Only believers get mad about their beliefs. You thought you was a believer, but then come to realize, that was just a
No, I'm not gonna
coincidence.
lie. I've been on a journey for maybe about is it 2 years? 2 years or 3 years? I think it's been 3 years now where I've just totally, especially when it comes to religion and what I believe as far as religion, I've totally just questioned, I mean, everything. I've questioned the Bible. I questioned the existence of everything. Like even the birth of Jesus supposedly came, is the same story as uh Heru and some other person or whatever like that. And so there was this one video I watched where they was talking about in the they were looking at the hieroglyphics. And they was like, well, this is where the story of Jesus came from 32 years before Jesus was supposedly born, but this is the same story over here. And it's the same story over here. I forgot, it's like 5 different religions that have a similar story to the story of Jesus.
And I've recently said that too. It's like the Bible is either a spinoff of every other religion in the world, or every other religion in the world is a spinoff of the
Spin-off
Bible.
of the Bible.
One
Yeah.
or the other. But
One or the other.
I also had this question on another challenge, I believe, episode where I thought about like um we are for all religions are myths and cults. Every single one of them are myths and cults because one, the cult, don't everybody like cults either. And that's what and all a cult is a group of people that believe in the same thing
Same thing. Hmm.
with other people finding it not a practical thing to be believing in. And that's as well as all religions, the same thing as that. Myths, the reason why it's a myth is because we can't prove absolutely any of it. Just like every single myth in the world, also, just like Greeks and Norse and Egyptians and I can't think off the top of
Anthology
my
and
head.
numerology. I mean, you have anthology and
All
numerology,
those
and all of those. They're saying is against what God wants. But then I started even studying numerology. There's this one guy on, and I'm like, he's like, well, look at the numbers. Then when they add the numbers, and this number means this, and this number means this, and this is the reason why this happened the way this happened because of the numbers. You're like, what?
You remember early? You remember earlier what I said? I don't believe none of them cats either, because nobody went Avatar. You ever heard of this show called Avatar: The Last Airbender? It's a
I've heard of it, but never watched it.
yeah, okay. So, but nobody ever went that. You could talk about what you just said. Hey, the numbers do this and the numbers do that. But nigga, did you just calculate this in order for you to get this to tell me about this? And has anything happened? No. But yet, then you would come with
They
then
said that it happened because of the numbers, the way the numbers were calculated.
again,
Or, yeah,
uh,
I was like, oh my God, like what are you
again.
supposed to freaking believe?
You can't do that now. Your demonstration of your talks of a demonstration doesn't surpass an actual demonstration of what you're trying to get me to convince me of. And again, I doubt you yourself actually know how to tap in to what it is you telling me how to tap into. I doubt that seriously, because here you are again having your 1800 seminar on how to tap in, and yet nobody of your students or you yourself has ever showed a demonstration of going avatar on somebody. But you want other people to believe the things that you believe in. That's why I'm more intrigued with your certainty than I actually am with the actual religion, because the religion is the catalyst to your psychoticness right now. That's how I see it. It's the catalyst to your psychoticness. Like again, you cannot tell me why it is you believe in tapping into what it is you're telling me to tap into. If you can't describe that, everything that we're having right now is just for fun. All the conversation we're having right now is just for kicks. It's just to entertain one another. If you cannot tell me why you actually believe outside of it being a feeling, outside of it being a feeling, you you tell other people you can't make decisions off temporary emotions. But that's exactly what a feeling is. A feeling is an emotion of whatever sort of emotion you're feeling at the time. And for you to believe that you probably, let's just say again, you probably have talked to God, you probably have spoken to God.
And
But
if I have,
outside,
I didn't know I did.
and if you
It,
did,
it was
like,
it was something that was totally unconscious, or but it wasn't like I've been in those situations where it's like, okay, Lord, you're gonna have to send me a text message, you're gonna send me an email, you're gonna have to write it in the sky, or you gonna, I really need to know.
I feel like you're asking. I feel like you're asking to be brainwashed at that point.
Yes, and I am.
You're you're
I am.
asking,
I'm asking for you to prove to me that what I believe is real. I
but no,
want to believe, but in order for me to believe, it has to be.
but that's what I'm saying about the
Yeah, it has to be
you
what
being
it has to be abstract, concrete, or whatever. It can't be something that's abstract. It has to be.
as exactly, that's what I mean by you're asking to be brainwashed, because you're asking for a sign, and guess what a sign is? Anything you see the moment you open your eyes from asking this, that's your sign, and that's what
And
most
so
people
if
believe
there's
in.
nothing,
If there's nothing, it ain't no. If there's nothing, God hasn't answered your prayer. But if you when you go outside and drive around and you happen to look up at this billboard, which is a sign, technically, won't he do
won't he do it?
it? Won't he do
Won't he
it?
do it?
Won't he do it? I knew that if I asked for a sign versus directly what I want, that I would get the sign, that I will probably get directly what I want. And I'm going to believe my imagination is telling me this because I want to believe this because I fear not believing in it a whole lot more than I actually care to put in thought of why I actually believe that God is actually real.
So the action of seeing the sign is that did I just manifest that?
Hey, if you want to believe that,
See that?
exactly, you did. If you want to believe
And
that
to
you
believe,
manifested this, if you want to believe that you manifested this sign that's been here for the last two
that's
months, but you just happen to take notice of it now,
yeah.
yeah, you manifested that. Let's go with that because you ain't hurting nobody, are you? So if you ain't hurting nobody, and that's how it is with me. If you ain't hurting nobody, you can believe what you want to believe in,
What you want
as
to believe,
long as
as long as
you
you ain't hurt
ain't.
nobody.
If you, if only you hurting only you cool in my book. I shouldn't have to die because you believe in something. I shouldn't have to die because I don't believe in what you believe in.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to be threatened or anybody in my that I give purpose to in my life be threatened because your God said so. If your God was just understanding as you claim it to be, then he will understood that hey, this land that Moses is coming to strip away from these people, he will understand that these people need somewhere to be too. But nah, your God has to viciously tell people to kill others. Again, God ain't even doing nothing. He don't fight none of his own battles. He picked other people to do his bidding for him. That way he can stay the Nino Brown that we know of. Well, Nino Brown did do some of his own work, but that's because hell ain't even created yet. But yet, people believe when they die, they go to hell and or heaven. But neither one of them is really created yet. The heaven again is only a word for sky. The word Adam, which is Adam's name, means human. So it's not necessarily his name, but American Christianity just said, hey, let's just give him this name. But for my researches, Adam means human. So he created human,
Human.
not Adam.
Adam.
And
I
again,
mean,
all
you
this
know,
this
I
this
I
fear
love
mongering.
my husband always talks about how if we all come from Adam and Eve, why do we have so many different last names?
Look, first of all, nobody in the Bible has a last name except Jesus. And they don't even count that as a
So
last
where did that
name.
come from? So where did
They
the
don't
whole
even
last name come from?
they don't even count that as a last name because apparently the word Christ just means anointed one. So basically, it's just his name is Jesus, the anointed one. And who else gets anointed? Anybody that says they're a pastor. Man, look, I come across some information that, again, remember how I said that the origins of Christianity is just comes from a carnage of stuff
Of search,
of
yes, of
evil, a
different,
carnage
yes.
of evil, a carnage of evil. Not just from the people who went through the history slaughtering folks just because they wasn't Christian and taking over their ideologies, say, hey, no, I mean, but I ain't just talking about that. I'm talking about even back in the day, according to old texts, old literature that people believe in because it's old enough to believe in it, is that the earth itself is the body of a dead god. The sky is the other half of that dead guy's body.
Wow.
That's that was before the supposed Yahweh came about. Before, well, I ain't even gonna say not before the supposed Yahweh came about, but that was supposed we got the knowledge that his name is Yahweh. Again, BS made up stuff that was added to just, hey, religion is evolving and people are evolving with this religion. So let's just say God did have a name other than I am. Like, again, you could anything you toss at me, it's like, why are you choosing to believe in this when you don't even understand why you believe
Why you believe it in the
prior
first
this
place?
new knowledge came? Prior this new knowledge came, like my dad is a good example. He's straight up believer. This man, far from what we consider holy, but that's every human's excuse. That's every human's excuse. We're not supposed to be perfect. Yeah, well, you are
That's a
supposed to be
great cut.
perfect.
You are supposed to
You
be
are
perfect
supposed to be perfect.
according to yeah.
Exactly. You are supposed to be perfect. But sure, let's go with that. This man, he believes no weapon shall prosper against him because this man been on 15 motorcycle accidents. And he's still here to talk to us
He's
today.
still here.
So he believes, and then on top of that, he actually believes that he gonna be here until the supposed second coming come. And he just now found out that his God that he been praying to is name is Yahweh. So again, all these new pieces of information that you're getting from what you already been believing, but yet here you are still choosing to not do better since you know better already, because that's what the religion chooses to tell you that, hey, it don't matter what you do, as long as you do a couple of repent, the other side of you across the street can just say a couple Hail Marys, y'all can come together again, even though you Catholic and you not. So, but it's still cool because, hey, I'm God, and I did split people apart with all these different languages because y'all was getting along. You know what I'm saying? So, come on, people, just think about what it is. That's all I'm asking. I'm just curious to what's the mechanism that keeps you from actually thinking about what it is that you believe in there versus I just want this to
Want to
be.
believe yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not enough
Yeah. Like I said,
reason for
I
me.
question all of it.
There's not enough reason for
I
me.
want to believe, but it's like it's I guess it's kind of like doing a dissertation where you have a theory and then you have to prove that that theory is true. So I'm seeking the truth, not really the truth. I'm seeking and looking for proof that it's true. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you seeking and looking for proof that it's true. I mean, that could be, but if you're
What if I never find that truth?
and you know what, I want to switch transition this into purpose. Purpose and fate. Like, what exactly is that? What exactly is faith for one? We know what it means definitionally wise is to actually believe in your imagination for real, for real.
What is it?
But
Faith is the
believing in the unseen.
yes, believing unseen as if it yeah. Faith
No,
is the substance of
it's not
things
even.
seen or something
It ain't
unseen.
even.
I forgot
Yeah,
how they say it.
it's not even believing in the unseen for any purpose. It's just believing in the unseen. That's all faith
Yes,
is.
that's all
Which
faith
is
is. Yeah.
but yet we add all that extra stuff in there. We don't know what faith really is, but yet here we are getting mad at other people who has an imagination on stuff. And that's
Mm.
exactly what faith is, imagination. You
Imagination.
you have faith, which is hope. So you hope that your God that you're
God,
talking to is an actual thing that is actually there to listen to what it is that you're crying to him about or talking to him about, or like you like to say now, have a relationship with him about. So you're hoping that he's real, but your certainty on it is always up in the air because you just uh, outside of you wanting to outside of you wanting this to be true, you wanted it to be true is not certainty. It's not convincing other people that it is true. Again, you're not
absolutely.
hurting me. You're not hurting me that you believe in this. It's cool. I don't care whether you believe in it or not. You have no purpose in my life outside of the time that I'm giving you right now
Mhm.
to converse. And that's cool. I ain't beefing with you. And we won't be beefing after this conversation is over with. Even if you don't like me, again, I don't care about you enough to have that
Right.
affect me. So I want to transition this to purpose, what you said. I don't
Okay.
believe in purpose either. I don't believe in
Okay.
fate. I don't believe in none of that. I just believe in doing what makes you happy. If this makes you happy, then go ahead. Purpose and faith is you searching for something that you will have absolutely no 100% on it that this exactly is what your
What
purpose
it
is.
is.
You will always believe that this is your purpose, meaning that you think this is your purpose because I feel like your purpose shouldn't make you mad. You shouldn't be sad doing
Your
your
purpose.
purpose. You shouldn't be sad at what makes you happy. Then you don't like this then. So why are you doing it? Why are you taking time out your life to pursue what you don't like to do because of you believe that a God
Told you
that
that
you
this
can't
was your
even tell me,
purpose.
yeah, you can't even tell me why you believe in this God, but you believe that this God has a plan and it's already been written out for you. Do you know how much of your life, my wife's life, my kids' life, and every single human being on the planet's life matters towards my purpose? In order for my purpose to fall in play with this plan that you believe your God has, the purpose of every other person would have to fall in play as well. And I don't really see that happening. So just do what makes you happy.
You just got to do what makes you like, and life is short. You know, all I
Yep.
know is what's going on right now. I don't know what the other
Yep.
side, what lays in the other side, right? You know, once our spirit or we give up the ghost and the spirit comes out of our body or whatever, I don't know where it goes. Um,
We don't even know what's
I
coming
don't
out of our
know
body,
if it's
but yet,
coming out of our body. I don't know if
exactly.
I don't I don't know if there's an eternity.
You know what everybody says? It's the exact same thing. Is you ever heard people talk about what they seen when they flatline and got brought back to life, or whatever a flatline is? They awaken
Heard
from it.
a couple of stories. Yeah,
Yeah, how similar are those same stories?
they're all similar.
Uh, they're all similar, and okay, could be, but again, are they are they similar because you imagine that this would be this way prior this happening to you, or are they similar because you actually seen it? Like,
Right.
what if God, what if the reason you believe in God is only due to the fact that the reason that you perceive him to be versus you actually believe in him to be, which is again a feeling. All right.
It's definitely a
But she
perception.
can get something now. The bread ain't gonna be done. But yeah, again, that's all. That's all. I'm just like to have conversation about it. It's dope that
This was
when
a good
people do
conversation.
when people don't like to, people just like to rub the top of the surface. They don't even want to scratch that mud. They just want to rub the top of the surface, which is a bunch of BS of you talking about a bunch of stuff, but don't want to talk about that said stuff that you're talking about. It's cool. I just wait for the bread. But yeah, this was a dope conversation. I enjoyed I enjoyed
Though.
this.
This was
I'm
a
glad you
great conversation.
I'm glad you didn't
Shy away from it.
rebuke me.
Oh, rebuke you. Oh,
Rebuke.
no, because I'm one of those people that, again, if I was to send this video to, if I was to post it on my page and people actually look at it, they'd be like, Terry. I'd be like, yeah,
Mhm. All this time you thought I was a Christian.
y'all. And I'll talk about God all day, and I sure will. I ain't even gonna lie, I sure will, because at the
Boy,
time, that's what I'm.
send me
That's what
sweet
I'm
for it's already
feeling
on there. Oh, you got it right. Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what I'm feeling.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's because that's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling, and that's what I want to believe.
And again, ain't nothing wrong with
But
you
I'm
wanting to
saying
believe
right
that.
here for the record, I don't know what to believe.
And none of us do. But I find you saying that better than saying I believe just for the sake of believing in something. Like to me, that right there makes no sense to me. Just for you to believe in something, you shouldn't be allowed to teach kids if that's the reason why you believe in something. Because you telling the kids to just go with the flow. If you being bullied, it don't make a difference. Just go with the flow. It'll stop sooner or later. What you doing, girl? Stop! Look here. What are you doing? That's not how I do. Okay. All right. Well, these two are already done. Okay. Look here. Get out the kitchen. I'm trying to help us. You're not. Cause you're distracted. I told you here go the full hunt. You can grab this. That could be done in a minute. Man, girl. Wow, you hungry? Three full bites. The whole entire stomach is about to overflow. But yeah, this was dope. I like the conversation
Yeah, I
that we
mean,
took a picture
my
that
biggest thing again, and I'll go back to why one of the biggest reasons why I have a hard time with the church and with religion is, people, they'll, especially like the black churches, is the verse that I'll go back to, the verse that says, love God with all your heart, all your might, all that, and then love your neighbor like you love yourself. But
Mhm,
most people don't love themselves like you and I talk about. Most people have
mhm,
self-hatred, and
mhm.
that goes from, okay, if we got more people in the church than we do in the gym, like, it's been
It don't.
proven it's been proven that exercise and eating healthier keeps you disease free as opposed to the opposite. But when we so church people want to eat whatever they want to eat. Matter of fact, you go to the church, the first thing they're gonna do, they're gonna feed you the fried chicken and all that stuff, which that's on you. But then when
Mhm.
you get the diabetes, and then when you get the cancer, and when you get the illnesses, now you want to pray for a healing. But the word says faith without works is dead. So okay, so didn't does the word say that you're supposed to, that you have to have a measure of, put some area of work to it first in order for stuff? I mean, that's where I get confused about it. That part right there is where I just be like, okay, make up your mind.
This is another loophole. All look, all you have to do, according
Make
to
up your
God,
mind.
is just put me first. That's all you gotta do. Is put him first, according to what he says. Just put him first. That means when you wake up in the morning, uh, follow the rules, pray, say thank you, and all this and that, and that's pretty much it. All that other stuff, again, labor force, work without. You mean I'm gonna do all this work? I put in all these years of hardship. It ain't even slavery to it. It just was some hard
And
work,
I know
and I
people,
got to give all my thanks to you.
I know I have a friend that is a faithful tithe. If she don't do nothing else, she believes in tithing, but is always broke.
See, if you suffer until you die, you become favorable. You have to
She done had
suffer
cancer.
until
She
you,
done had cancer 3 times.
and guess what else? Guess what else? She probably think that she did something wrong, like most people who believe in God when things don't go their way. Well, just let me pray because I probably did something wrong. As long as I repent. But here's the thing about repenting. Repenting is just another way of saying you sorry. That's how I look at it. That's what I believe and think it
That's
is.
how I look at it too. That's how I
So
look at it too.
so if you're doing, again, aware of your own stupidity or your own retardedness of what you're doing, all you have to do is repent. Then that means that you
You
still
stop doing
not
what it is that,
abiding. You still not abiding by the bylaws of what God says, because the things that you're doing is supposed to be willingly. You're doing it for something versus doing it because God says willingly do these things for me, not because you're trying to get something out of it, not because you're trying to be hit that mega million, which is you ain't supposed to be doing anyway, because that's against the sins. The playing the lottery, getting these tattoos for your loved ones and all that stuff. You ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to do all that, but here you are praying to God. I mean, a friend of mine, we fell off for a little bit because I hit him with one of these with this question. That's in another one of my poems. Is that you when your loved ones die, they gone home, right? Your loved ones gone. God called them to call them home, but yet here you are praying the next morning that you woke up. What?
right.
What? Like, why you not trying to be home either? Why? Because you self-hate yourself. You don't think you're worthy enough of what your imagination tells you of this entity that you believe that you made up in your head because your parents or grandparents or elders told you about this entity. And yet, even your grandparents been and parents been believing in this entity long before they instilled it in you. But here we are still in poverty. We're all still in the same boat because we haven't
Then you look
suffered
at somebody,
enough.
and then that's when and that's where I started really, really questioning, right? Because let's look at Bill Gates, who is like one of the richest people in the world. Now, why is this man who has said that he believes that we got too many people in the world and wants to create devices such as what is the injections and stuff we
Mm.
had to
Vaccines and all that stuff.
vaccines and stuff like that, so that we can because we need to get rid of, what is it, 9 million people in the world, and we need to get down to about 3 million. So that means he's saying that we need to get rid of about 5 million people. I
So
mean, 5
what
billion
is
people.
that? What is that? What is that? 3/4?
Yeah.
You know that's religious.
Yes.
Everything is cornerstone around this junk for no, all because of the purpose of fear. A third of people, and again, first of all, you good. If the world was too populated, again, this is just a wild theory of mine here. Why ain't the Earth dropped? Why ain't the Earth dropped out of orbit yet? Or why ain't the Earth spinning slower due to the weight that is now carrying? Or is the Earth even spinning for real anyway? All this type of stuff. That's why religion is my favorite thing to talk about, because nobody can give me,
There's
nobody can even
nothing.
explain what I'm talking about. You can even explain
Yeah.
what it is
Nothing.
that I'm questioning.
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing of it is explained. Nothing about it is explainable.
Nothing. It's not one
Nothing.
person. It's not one thing in the Bible that's tangible in reality. Not one. Not one thing. In fact, it's more believable that aliens actually do exist than God actually existing. Why? Because the Bible states that aliens are part of the world of reality. And the main alien is God from Ezekiel. Ezekiel explains these things to everybody, text for text, word for word. He described what we call angels. He described what they look like, detail for detail, and yet everything about it describes what we call aliens or non-humanoid things. But yet we still choose to be in our ignorant bliss state purposely, where we're subconsciously willing to be oblivious. And again, it's like that's why I want to have this conversation, because if I can if we can understand the psychology behind why people just gotta believe in stuff just for the sake of believing in stuff, then we probably can get to the bottom of why religion is a thing and why people choose to be that afraid of their own imagination. Like, what's the purpose of being afraid of your own imagination to that degree? To that degree, like, you haven't met your imagination, but you believe in your imagination that wholeheartedly that you can't even tell me why you believe in it. That's the funny thing about everything. Yeah. Great conversation.
Great
Appreciate
conversation.
you.
Had me back
Appreciate.
on both of your shows.
I it's
I
rarely
wish
when I
I could
get
have
to
you on mine, but mine's a sports talk show. You don't talk sports.
yeah, I don't know too much about sports. I don't mind coming on here to talk, but a lot of it can't be about sports. I don't mind. I'll look up and stuff. You give me something to look up, and I'll research it. And, do what it is and get my opinions on it. and I come on the show and talk to you about it. And I listen to your show. It's cool. You just, yeah, I listen to it when you sent it to me.
Which one did I send you?
Um, the
What's we
one where
talking about?
you had to abruptly end at the end of it. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
did I
that's
tell
the
you
way
about
you
what
sent
happened
me.
right there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't heard you mention anything about it, but you did say
Okay,
that you was going to later on.
so my son had called and was
Oh,
in distress. You could probably hear it in the background. One of his
yeah.
friends, one of his friends had just committed suicide.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I did hear you say that. You mentioned it on the show, but you didn't like go into details about it.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yep, yep. Yeah, that's
It was the saddest thing. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
I need to edit that, but I'm just gonna leave it because everybody knows now.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had the funeral Saturday.
Okay. Yep, yep. But hey, again, people, we can close it out with
And
again,
again, I
people.
remember one of the guys that he's like one of our he does like photography and he videos the games. He was like, I wish God can tell me why this happened.
Well,
I
first of
question
all,
God.
first of all, you got to be black. For some reason, we believe we're the chosen one for him to tell you anything. And then on top of that, on top of that, you have to be an extra chosen one to have the parable not spoken to you and not the sign answer given to you. Like send me a sign answer, you gotta be that's a parable answer to send me the sign answer. But yeah. But I'll close out with again, people, I'm not denouncing God. I'm not even denouncing what you believe in. Again, I don't care about it enough to denounce it to that degree. I care about more so understanding why one would choose to believe, even though they're reading the same thing I'm reading. I don't want to. I'm more intrigued with your certainty on the matter. Like, what is it that is so certain that this is what it is? And adding to you being aware of your own delusion, you see that it is what it is, ain't happening around you, but it only seems to happen with you. Like, come on, think about that. But and if you do decide to read the book, the Bible, don't read it trying to look for something. Don't read it trying to interpret something, trying to just read it. Just read it. That's, don't if you don't know something, look up the definition of a word. I don't think that's trying to metaphor something. That's not trying to. That's how you gain better understanding on what it is that you're reading. You know what the word means. So just look up the word if you don't mean it. Don't decipher, because that's how you get stuck with separate religions. That's how you get stuck with wanting to believe something versus choosing to know that it is actually true or not. Like, just read the book because again, it's all written right there, written right there, all right there. Even in the New Testament, people don't like to use the Old Testament no more because the New Testament supposedly override all the rules of the
Yeah, it's
Old
supposedly the
Testament.
new law.
Exactly, but God, even Jesus said he's saying one thing in one mode, saying, don't believe what that Moses cat said. Like, don't come to me about what Moses said. Like, I'm saying what I'm saying now. But at the same time, he still says govern unto your government. It's like, come on, man. Like, see, y'all, both of y'all playing. All three of y'all playing, and that devil is your main top. He's employee of the month.
Thank you,
So
Donnie, for
yeah.
having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We're gonna do this again soon. Uh until next episode of Can a Job Believe? Think, people. Think. Think. Oh man. Dude, my phone got 3%.
Well, you better get off of here.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you again. It was awesome. I'm gonna try to have it out tomorrow, but
No
it's
problem.
out there now.
All
And
right.
have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.